Welcome to Hotspot TV, the best way to stay up on the hottest events going on in your area. If you want to see what's going on around you, visit us at hotspot.co. I'm Vidal Kachuka and we're about to get started. Again, welcome to Hotspot TV. I'm in the home of the beautiful Scarlett Lash, and I'm joined by the two of them, Shonta Jones and Scarlett Lash. They're two San Francisco Bay Area models who are going to be modeling in the Mélange fashion show this weekend on Saturday, September 27th at the Regency in downtown San Francisco. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, check out the link in the description below and you'll be able to check out the event. So I'm here with Hotspot Television, and the purpose of it is to get the story of people who are involved in really amazing and impactful events. So before we get into what Mélange is and why we're all here and why we're all excited about it, I want you all to meet these two lovely ladies first. So Shonta, starting with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got involved with fashion, and sort of what brought you to where you are now.
Okay, well, basically, like he was saying before, my name is Shonta. Basically, my family and everyone like that does a lot of modeling, entertainment. My auntie was always around E40 before he became who he is today. So I was always in the industry and seeing a lot of things. So, and when I grew up, she did barbershop modeling. So she told me, why don't you go try it one time? So I went out, I tried, wasn't really for me. So I just went out and kind of started my own company, and born and raised in Bay Area, California, Oakland, Hayward, Berkeley, you know it.
And it's great. It's a good time to be in the Bay Area right now because DJ Mustard and all those guys down there got that sound popping, and it's just good to be in San Francisco. So yes, let's turn over our attention to you, Scarlett. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what your story is, and why you're involved in fashion.
That's good. I'm Scarlett Lash. I actually started out at 19 years old doing burlesque performances at a fetish club. I was actually discovered there by a photographer who asked me to do a shoot. Knew nothing about modeling and just went for it. And hated the photos when I saw them. Turned out to be the cover of a German magazine. From there, I started doing a lot of promotional modeling, a lot of just flyers, small clubs, small bars. And afterwards, I started doing hair modeling. I did that for a numerous amount of years. When I moved from Boston to San Francisco, I kind of wanted to lay it down, but the fashion industry just kept approaching me, and I figured, you know what, if it keeps approaching me and falling in my lap, I might as well take it by the horns. And since then, I've done a lot of like small runway fashion shows in different venues and whatnot. And from there, it just kind of grew. I also, started doing a lot of ink. I'm clearly tattooed.
And wait, what?
Yeah, but I only have one. It's just very all over. But so I started doing like a lot of alternative fashion and ink modeling. I've done a lot of magazine covers and whatnot. But I really wanted to kind of, when I'm living on the West Coast, because I do live bi-coastal, the fashion is my forte here. So this is what I take on when I am on the West Coast. On the East Coast, I do a lot more ink modeling. So a lot less fashion shows and runways and whatnot. But Mélange kind of approached me as of last year with the Tusa Couture. I did a little bit of work with them, and, it was quite the compliment to, be asked to do something. It's the biggest fashion show in San Francisco. Definitely a compliment, and whether you have created yourself as this, quote unquote celebrity status or not. I mean, I'm still just the girl that is aspired to, stay in this industry and being completely inked up, and it's hard to cross over. And that's, I guess, kind of what I'm trying to do. So a much bigger compliment to actually be asked to do Mélange yet again a second year.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things I want to address in what you were just saying, but before we go on to that, shout out Boston. You mentioned that you're from there.
I'm the East Coast baby.
There you go.
Very
I can
Boston.
even hear it sometimes in the accent and some of the words that you say, but that's fantastic that you were courageous enough to get out and go on and explore new things. So I want you to also touch really quickly on this distinction, because you and I off camera talked a little bit about this of between ink fashion and regular fashion. And there seems to be, I think it's changing slightly depending on where you are with the stigma against people with tattoos and ink and body alterations, but it seems like it might be harder to book conventional fashion gigs if you do have tattoos. So talk a little bit more about that and how maybe that was an obstacle for you, or maybe that opened up some opportunities.
You know, I think I feel as though I got a little bit lucky, but all at the same time, it's all about like who we are in our personas, how we present ourselves. I don't think I really ever presented myself as an inked model, even though that's one of the things that I'm considered, you know, due to the fact that I do a lot of like covers for ink magazines and features and whatnot. I love fashion. Cool. And I don't feel as though that we should be limited on our modeling and, you know, our careers due to the fact that we have ink. But sadly enough, I mean, very true. With an inked model, it's going to take away from the designer's piece. But there are plenty of designs that actually can, yes, absolutely. And that's where I'm at. I am trying to do the crossover. I would love to see more alternative women that has chosen, in a sense, this lifestyle of ink to not be afraid and really approach the fashion industry still. Yeah. The worst thing that could happen is they say no. Yeah. Obviously, I've done it. I've been in fashion now for the last 4 years. I've, you know, dealt with a lot of trials and tribulations of it, the fears, the self-consciousness of being a tattooed woman. But if the designers love you, then they love you. And that has a lot to say with your characteristics, how you present their clothing. If you can model out the clothing as if you are a model, and models are chameleons. Yeah. So if you can, in a sense, tone down yourself with less the attitude that a lot of, sadly enough, us tattooed girls have, if you can tone that down and present that clothing, you can do this.
That's cool. And I mean, I know, Shonta, you have one little on your arm, right? Have you thought about going and doing more tattoos, or you kind of want to keep it doing? You want to?
Yeah. Like I was telling Scarlett before, I was like, you know, I was kind of on the borderline of that because it's like if I start to get tattooed, will that like hinder me from the high fashion I already been doing? Because it's kind of easier to cover up the one tattoo I do have. But the one I want to get is like my full back, and then it's this whole sleeve eventually, and then the legs. So, you know, that's where I'm trying to go with it. But I'm getting to the point where like I'm not a starter model. So I'm like 36 years old. So it's not like I'm 19, 20, and, you know, it's not going to go the way I want. It's something that I want to carry out my own self. So it's like personal. But if I get picked up, I get picked up. But like I told you before, I have my own company. So I can always brand off that tattoo.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because that's really interesting. And you're saying how that contributes to where you are and booking your own things and helping people aspire. So tell us a little bit more about that. Okay,
I definitely do that. Like I was telling them, on the weirdest time to meet somebody was on this 1910 trailer car, like a cable car in San Francisco. I met Vidal. And I was talking about, you know, I did barbershop modeling, which I told you before. And it just took, I tried it for like 2 years. And I spent like money.
You said barbershop?
Okay. And it's out of San Francisco. Okay. I don't know where it is in other places, but it's out of San Francisco out here. And it just, I never went nowhere. I did a lot of photo shoots, but I was never getting booked. I wasn't tall enough. I wasn't what they were looking for. I wasn't the right color on some of them. But it was more so height and weight. Yeah. So it kind of made me discouraged. I was like, okay, I put all this effort. I took all these beautiful glamorous shots, and then I'm not getting booked. I'm not even getting a call. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of getting no. Yeah. So I'm going to start my own company. And I'm going to learn to tell everybody to love themselves, be diverse. Yeah. I accept all models. I don't care what size you are, what height you are, what your personality, your creed. Yeah. I don't care what religion you are. If you want to get into something, I can help you, because there's a market for everything. So that's what I started in 2006 and worked with a lot of models, and been doing a lot of modeling myself. Did a lot of runway myself. And then besides that, I did a lot of assisting, helping people behind the scenes, doing big shows. And then I ended up getting called to do a show, and it was Miss Scarlett Lash. Hello Kitty themed birthday party. And then it all took off from there. So that's all I can say. And then Mélange, it was kind of weird because I've been doing a lot on Facebook. So it was VIP Socialite, which kind of runs it. And they were like, hey, why don't you come to the casting? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, they had two. So there's like one in Oakland, but it wasn't run by them. And then there's the one by them. So I went to the one in San Francisco, and lo and behold, out of 250 girls, here I am.
Wow. So some of the things you were mentioning about your company, about how you want to be accepting and open to other kinds of models, I think transitions and segues perfectly into what Mélange is about. So can you take this opportunity real quick, and then I'll have you jump in as well, Scarlett, to describe what Mélange is and how why people might be interested in it as opposed to other kind of conventional fashion shows.
Well, basically, just from first orientation day, for everyone who went to orientation, just to walk into a room full of so many diverse people, different nationalities, different personalities. You know, everybody does different type of jobs. Everybody works different places, corporations, teachers, you know, people who don't have jobs. Like you said, we work at Subway. And it's just, you know, so very different than just going into one area and it's just African American, or it's just all Caucasian, or it's just all Asian, or it's just all Indian, like Bollywood, you know. So it's just, you just feel more like a bigger family. And it's like, oh, I can learn to get to know other people. Like things that you normally wouldn't want to do or try or do or try to learn another language. It kind of pushes you to want to kind of do that and try other things, not just stick in one little box. You know, you want to go outside the box and be diverse with yourself.
That's cool. Do you have anything you want to add on to that?
I mean, Mélange is such a beautiful event that, I mean, who doesn't want to model and who doesn't want to understand fashion, really? But the simple fact that Mélange is so many different, I believe this year we have 13 designers, if not more. Just the simple fact that Mélange is pulling things from, aspiring models and whatnot to have the opportunity, whether you're, a plus size model or you're super thin, or whether for bikinis or whatnot. I love the fact that Mélange is just pulling things from everywhere and just putting it all in one setting. The greatest thing for me, I mean, this year I'm going to be modeling for Punk Couture, which is amazing. Thank you, for lack of better terms. But what is Punk Couture? Punk Couture, I mean, we're all about let's go British, let's go American, let's go spikes and wild out. It is not afraid. It is outside that box, and it just, whether you're super feminine or a little androgynous, whatever, Punk Couture goes, we want you, and they want me, which is nice, because I not for nothing, but I am the only alternative and fully inked model that I saw as of last year, and for a split second, it made me feel a little self-conscious, a little nervous, but then I'm like, wait a minute, like this makes me a little more special, and it did. It kind of uprised that confidence in me, and I think that's what it's doing again this year. With more, and just the diversity, the differences in every one of us models. I mean, it's a place that's gonna feel like home. It's gonna allow a lot of people, like, to not look at models as we're anorexic and we're bulimic and we're all okay. We're all beautiful women. And I think that's the message that Mélange tries to send to me. Could be wrong, but that's what I gather. It's just beautiful.
Can you guys talk a little bit about the contrast between Mélange and traditional fashion? Because you both say you've done runway fashion, and you both are alternative in your own ways. I mean, you have the ink, and you have your own distinct look, and you are a woman of color, and in traditional fashion, that's certainly in the minority. So can you talk a little bit more about the contrast between the two, and maybe whether you think maybe what Mélange is trying to do and what your company is trying to do might be a trend in modern fashion? We'll start with you. Yeah, we'll start with you.
You'll start with me?
Yeah.
Well, basically, like I said, most of the runways I've been on, there's usually one set group. It's either this group or this group. Maybe it's a mixture, but it's never like everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's not like this and this, not like this plus size model. We don't have youth. We don't have kids. That's one thing Mélange also does bring in, I didn't talk about, which they have a lot of performers that are diverse, that came in, young, old, middle-aged, that are all coming to show their talent. It's just very different. Like I said, I've been to a lot of orientations, and you usually see, and when I go to African American ones or I do a African design, it's all African American women. It's rare do you see a Caucasian or Indian or Asian girl that's going to walk the runway. So to go to Mélange, it was like, wow. No matter if it's this designer, it's still going to have all these diverse people walking down the runway, every nationality. Like they say, it's like a rainbow. I love it.
That's fantastic. And how about you? What have your experiences been like in other more traditional?
I just feel as though that, per show, it's usually one designer. And those designers have a set idea of what they would like to have seen in their clothing, their styles, their designs. Maybe it's just a bigger thing. Maybe it's because so many designers are coming together that it makes the difference.
Interesting.
Because I work with specific designers who want only super slender girls, less breasts, more this, whatever it is. But I think, in a sense, I don't see it as too much difference. But the biggest difference of it all is that these designers are coming together.
That's cool.
So, because a lot of designers, who doesn't like their showcase, therefore they want to be presented a certain way through their models and whatnot. So this is just a grand show that it allows the designers to kind of work together. So it's more about them. And it's about like, hey, well, you like this style, I like this style, and let's put it all together and work together. And therefore, that's when us models, we come in and we get together and we are accepting of one another's image, and that's the beautiful thing. I mean, so in a sense, it's not that much difference as in a runway piece. It's just the working together, absolutely, of all of the designers and all the models and just putting it out there and saying, this is what we are, this is what we do, this is our work, this is,
that's cool.
So what we want to sell to you is beauty, a little intoxication of it.
So just also to provide a little bit of context, like I'm pretty ignorant to the whole fashion world, and right before the taping, they were here with some gel and combing my hair because it looked all nappy and whatnot. But, so some people might be ignorant to the distinction between the different worlds of fashion. And for instance, when I think of fashion, I mostly think of New York first, and New York Fashion Runway, and New York Fashion Week, and all those kinds of things. But we're in San Francisco, and that's actually probably one of the last places I would think of to be an epicenter in the U.S. for fashion. So can you talk a little bit about the differences between East Coast, specifically New York, because I know you live bi-coastally, but between New York and SF fashion, if you've sort of seen.
Sure. I mean, I do live bi-coastal, and as I said, I grew up in Boston. I was actually raised very young out here, but I never really touched the fashion industry out when I was out there. I did a lot of hair modeling. I did a lot of promotional modeling. But you think New York and you think Armani, you think Jean Paul Gaultier, you think just complete big names. You come to San Francisco and there's this beauty about it. Like there's a ton of just amazing local designers. And that's what I personally love to work with. So I'm not trying to hit the high spots, your super crazy celebrities. I love the fact that people are very striving here. So you can run into 150 different local designers that just does amazing things, if not better than some of these big names, sadly enough. But they're just trying to put themselves out there. There's a lot more strive. Where New York, for me, seems as though these are already pre-made people, pre-made designers.
Interesting.
So you're either in or you're out there. San Francisco gives you a chance.
So it might even be a better place for designers who want to make a name for themselves. If their overall ambition is to transfer to a larger market or a more recognizable name, maybe then transfer. So designers, if you're trying to get your name out, San Francisco might be the spot.
I say you start in San Francisco and you end up in New York.
There you go. Okay, so when we last left off, you were talking about the diversity of designers and the potential for people who come out to San Francisco to be able to make more of a name for yourself and not being as much of a crowded market. So talking then a little bit more about designers, do you guys have personal favorites or personal preferences, not only in designers, but the kind of clothes you like to wear? Is it, I know you were describing some of the stuff that Punk Couture does with the spikes and some of the more, I don't know. I don't even know how you would describe it, like flamboyant type of fun.
Yeah.
There you go. Michael Jackson type of stuff. Or do you kind of like the more elegant dresses, lacy, and I'm sure I'm using all the wrong adjectives, but
No, you're not. You're good.
I'm a fan of it all.
Yeah.
So like I don't like the idea of sticking to one look.
yeah.
I'm all about change. I mean, you know, a lot of times you find me as a pinup, and I love pinup, don't get me wrong, but then again, I'm a little rocker girl. Then I'm a little like latex. You know what I mean? So like I love it all, but I'm granted, tattoos or not, like I'm a full gown girl. I mean, you can go through my closets and you find just amazing, beautiful full gowns that, you know, are down to the floor in mermaid styles. I'm just a fan of fashion. I don't think that there's so many different aspects of a person.
Yeah.
There are characteristics. It's like I always say, you know, you have to wear that outfit. That outfit should not wear you.
Right.
You know, and that's
Put
where
that
I'm
on a quote book or something.
Yeah. please note it, Scarlett.
Right.
I said it. Can I be your next Marilyn?
Please. I'm going to take you on tour with us.
Yeah. But no, I really do. I really feel that. I feel like you wear it. And a lot of times I've found, you know, just different friends and whatnot who loves my clothing, but they don't have the characteristics, the personalities for it, and it just looks awkward.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, that's cute, maybe in a photo,
Yeah.
but not so much.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I'm at. That's how I look at myself. I look in the mirror one day. It's just like putting on your makeup. Some days you feel a little darker, and some days you're a little lighter. I mean, I am an alternative girl at heart, but I'm very, you know, fashion and like I love just making changes. You know, I can read a magazine. I don't follow fashion, as a lot of people does. Like, this is what's in, what's not. I take that one little item and I accessorize the crap out of it to fit my personality, and that's what I feel fashion is. Yeah. It's not just about the clothing. It's about who you are within that clothing.
Got it. How about you, Shonta? Do you have a specific look that you like, or is it kind of a variety as well?
It's like kind of variety, like she was saying. It's like, but me, truthfully honest with you, I do have like one I like to stick to more so than everybody else.
What is it?
Vintage, like old school, 1930s, 1940s kind of look. You know, the swoop with the side with a nice bun. I like all that. I like really old school kind of like things.
I've seen some of your pictures like that, and I think I noticed that. I didn't realize that was the exact the theme. That's cool. It's good. I think in some ways it's good to have a style and almost a signature that people can kind of know you by.
No, it's just taking something and kind of really making it your own.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you look back at, you know, the pinup days, I mean, I love pinup. I mean, pinup girls didn't have tattoos. Yeah. They were the risques, you know? And then now it's like, well, let's step it up a notch and throw a bunch of tattooed girls in it and make it look cuter. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, everything's changing. Fashion just keeps changing, and that's the beauty of it. But we, you know, taking and making that your own, I think, is what creates fashion in itself. So, I mean, it's kind of that little, you know, never-ending circle. Yeah. You know, chicken or the egg. Hey. Chicken or
the egg. So talking a little bit about pinup, and just so I'm clear, is that wait, what did you say?
Cigarette girl.
Cigarette girl.
You know, back in the day with the girls that carry, you know, the trays that come around their neck and the, you know, the old nightclubs and stuff like that.
You know, I feel like pinup is very about advertising. It's about selling a product. You know, and back then women actually took the time to really address their image. Yeah. I mean, you know, some of us do these days. I mean, I'm so low maintenance, it's ridiculous. But you know, for that style and what I try to like recreate with that, that's when I'm at my finest in my eyes. But you know, that's what pinup is. It's about selling a product, being your best, being woman. And being woman you had to present your body in its, you know, little nitties and whatnot. So, but you kept it feminine. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't, you know, obscene. It was very acceptable. It had caused some controversies, but you know, pinup is a beautiful style, whether you're trying to advertise a car or, you know, a bottle, you know, Coca-Cola.
And that's, and that's part of what I want to ask you, because I think femininity in fashion, I mean, that's what rules and fuels fashion. You know what I mean? I think the general public is more ready to see a very attractive, beautiful woman wearing beautiful clothes or advertising a product than they ever will a male. But at the same time, you guys both know sex sells. And
sex does sell.
And whether you see it in music videos and whatnot, the less clothing a woman wears, the more attention she stands to gain. But I think there's also a balance where you have to ask yourself, how much are you willing to take off before it becomes porn? So can you guys talk a little bit about what standards you set for yourself, and if there's a minimum, like I will do a bikini, but it has to be from this angle or something like that. So you want to start, Shonta?
Why don't you go first?
Make me start? No. Well, basically, I go as far as like semi-nude. I've done implied nude, which is you just like lay and there's like a nice shawl over you, things like that. But I've never done like full all on nudity. I don't even see myself doing that. But I do see like, because implied nude and semi-nude, that really helps, because when you think about it, you're in a bikini and that's semi-nude anyway. You know what I mean? So it all depends on the shot and what you're using it for. Got it. I don't see myself doing anything for like kink or anything. But I do see, like, I tell people, Victoria's Secret, that's not on that type of level, but it's still like some people call like almost like Playboyish. So, but at the same time, but they're doing it for a different, for a different taste, for a different market. They're actually selling the product and they have a brand. So it's a borderline for me, but I will not go full nude though. Got it.
How about you? All right, we're about to get some little different.
About to get excited.
No. Let's get straight. I giggle because the moment you talk about nude, and I've shot nude, but I've never I've presented it in photography as implied. But yes, have I been on the side of a highway somewhere on a deserted area, like covered like this, with absolutely nothing on but strands of hair? Yes, I have done it, but does it publish that way? Absolutely not. I would never go topless or anything. I mean, I'm very cultural and to some extent very old fashioned. I have a family that I would never want to disappoint. And they've been very, I guess, understanding. Not exactly supportive, but understanding of the fact that I do implied. I mean, all at the end of the day, it is all implied, but the process of it is being nude. So I giggle at that note because I am naked as naked.
Well, I think that's also a challenge, because I don't remember. I think it was Helen Mirren, the actress, where when she was younger, she had some shots. I forget for which publication it was, but she was topless. And I think sometimes, depending on how it's presented, and also with the name of the brand or the photographer, it can be more artsy, but there's definitely a very fine line.
Right? It is. And the one thing I think for me, like as an alternative and heavily inked model that's getting into fashion, is that it's very easy to judge me and consider me porn, because I mean, there's I get asked often enough, like, oh, are you a suicide girl? I'm like, oh, no.
What?
No, I mean, and no bash. Suicide girls are a bunch of very alternative inked girls that will model topless or nude, and due to the fact that I am heavily inked, people just makes that quick assumption, like, are you a suicide girl? And God bless them, because they do beautiful work. It's just not me.
Got it.
So I really do. You're talking about that fine line. Well, that's that fine line I never want to cross.
Got it.
Because of many reasons, and I really do, like you said, how you present it. I do a lot of implied nudes due to the fact that I have heavy tattoos, and you want to showcase that. I make one wrong mistake and I'm considered porn, and that's not me at all.
You have to really carefully manage.
Very carefully and very elegantly pose. So, a lot of more twists and turns in the body to, especially being a girl of like larger breasts, it's harder to do implied. So, but definitely fine lines, and definitely have to be a good model at, saving yourself.
And have good management too.
Yes,
absolutely.
And even if you don't have management, you gotta learn how to manage yourself.
I'm
learn when not. Yeah,
I mean,
that's one thing about Scarlett, and it's like, and she's helping me, with some things myself, but I mostly help manage other models, and that's one thing I tell them: you have to be careful what you do, because the minute you go a certain way, there's no coming back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True. That's
it's like you're a model or you're another way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Let's talk here for a minute. I'm not opposed to 20, 30 years later when I'm an old wrinkled woman to sell topless photos. I'm not opposed to that. I'm really not. Because all
right, check back in 30 years from now, Scarlett.
But no, I actually take topless photos and nude photos for my own, because I think years from now, when we're all ew, look at you, my golden
years,
and I wouldn't mind showcasing it then.
That's smart. That'd be interesting.
That makes you money. It'd be like, this is how I was. But you know how many people do that?
Photos don't die.
That. Have you noticed that?
No.
You've never seen older models? Come on. Oh my God. It's
photos
so sad to
die.
even say that name right now. But there's this one main lady who's always in the mainstream. And she used to be the beautifulest model, but she's done so much plastic surgery where she just okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not there anymore, but you still give her the respect because she's worked so hard to brand herself, and she's still that household name. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Hey, so different strategies. We'll put up your info on the video, and hopefully we'll get some models out here trying to holler at you guys.
Well, I'm not trying to put it out there like, hey, you used to be nude. No, but it happens.
Right.
So so one of the final things I want to talk about before we wrap it up is the fact looking at fashion as an entertainment industry. So I mean, at the end of the day, it is consumer facing, and people are trying to look at you, and you're trying to essentially build up your brands. Have you had any horror stories in fashion, sort of on that entertainment side, whether it's backstabbing or just certain things, people committing to things that I can kind of tell, but it's people committing to things that they didn't end up following through, and just kind of made you realize, all right, I got to be really tough, because I heard you on a conference call earlier, Scarlett, and you were laying down the line. At some point, I think everyone has that experience where you got to understand that this is a business, and you got to treat it like that. So what kind of stuff have you gone through in that regard? And more importantly, what advice do you have for people who might be aspiring to your positions to avoid these pitfalls and sort of all these obstacles?
I can almost guess that her experience is completely different from mine. When I started getting into fashion 4 years ago, I started to realize very quickly that I was always the nudist one on that runway show. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I'm tattooed. So some of these designers, and they had different partners and whatnot, would almost get into arguments about no, let's cover her up because this is about the design, or no, let's really keep her nude, and because of her tattoos and her body. And that's probably my nightmare. Going on a runway, I do make it very adamant that I don't want to be less clothed.
Got it.
I feel personally that it does take away from the designs with most of the designs, not with bikinis or anything like that, but whether it be corsets or whatever. It takes away from the design, and also it showcased me differently.
Got it.
People weren't focusing on what I was wearing; they were focusing on my look, and I, as a model, that it's not about me. It's about what I'm wearing and what we're trying to sell here. So that being said, I felt almost like other designers saw that too. My train of thought. And so I started making requests if I'm going to model for you, then I need to be covered up more.
Got it.
And the only advice I give to anyone who is modeling, has ink, anything like that, or if you're uncomfortable with something, speak out about it, but don't be demanding. Just make sure that your thoughts and your feelings about it is exposed. And sometimes you have to stick to your grounds, and even if it makes you lose a few jobs or two, then that's what it is. That's a part of it. But really, really make sure that you are in your own comfort zone as well.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really good advice. How about you? Anything in the entertainment side of fashion that's kind of toughened you up, made you sort of orient your life a little bit differently, and maybe that can be a growth experience for other people? Or has it kind of been smooth sailing, but no, it hasn't, because you mentioned a little bit earlier about the firm you were working with that wasn't really taking you where you wanted to go.
Yeah, you know, a lot of things happen because, you know, depending if you're like really good at what you do, sometimes you know, people can use that and abuse that, and you have to really be careful about that. That's the biggest thing. Okay. You know, because they'll use your talent and they know that you'll do it just because you're a sweet person. You won't even talk back, and you won't get anything out of it that you need to get out of it. Yeah. The other thing I say is watch your friends too. You know, because they can be your best friends, but they can be using you as well, and you're giving it your all, but then they're thinking of it as a different aspect, but not taking the personal away from it in business. You know, you have to stick with the business. And as far as, you know, backstabbing happens a lot, so you just gotta truly watch your circle and watch who you agree to work for. You know what I mean? And then besides that, just be nice, but at the same time,
oh boy, right?
no. See, I love how she laughs because she knows what I'm about to say. I'm like, be nice, but be a bitch at the same time.
Sometimes you gotta be a bitch.
Me, I'm called a bulldog. I can be, you know. It's like, man, Shonta, she's so mean. Why does she talk like that? But it's like at certain times, it's like, come on. You know, you like, come on, you have some common sense now. Like, you just told me to go do this right now, and this dress is just like not going to fit me. But and then you have models that will come in and they'll pick their own clothes, and the designer's so sweet that they won't tell them no, and then it just looks half going crazy down the runway. And it's just, speak up for yourself. But don't speak up too much. And then the biggest thing is, don't never tell a designer, please, that their garment is ugly. Or we already had this experience, remember?
That seems like a good idea.
We're experiencing this at you know, that you can't tell a designer, they work very, very hard, extenuous hours. And you're gonna say, I don't like it. It's not meant for you to like. It's just meant for you to wear.
Sadly enough, you know, on that note, I really do feel like people should read up the vocab and the definition of model.
You're a living mannequin. You may talk at some times, but you are a living mannequin.
That's solid. That's some profound stuff. Living mannequin.
Yeah, I mean, you have a personality, like Nick says. He says that too. We like Mélange. That's why I love what he says. We want you guys to have the personality. But like Christina comes out and says, we don't need no divas. You can't come in here acting like you run this. You know, do you really want this? Act like you want it and be appreciative. Show appreciation. You know, don't backstab nobody. Don't go behind somebody's back to take photographer pictures. Don't go and try to get signed by somebody that got signed with somebody, or talk bad on that other person just so you can make yourself look good. So it's just stay focused and keep your circle tight, as I say.
That's smart.
Once you see who's negative, let them go.
I think that's smart. I think sometimes you see people who are really, really eager to get into entertainment of any kind, whether it's music, film, fashion. They don't manage themselves well. They're willing to do things they really shouldn't be doing. Or they maybe take on this attitude like of entitlement, that everything, I should be getting everything, and they kind of treat people like crap. So having that balance and being just be a human being, be a genuine human. That's what I'm getting from you guys.
Being genuine takes you a long way, you know, with the connects that you do get. I mean, it's all about, with this industry, like one hand washing the other. You take care of me, I take care of you. You know, and as much as, you know, you talk about the backstab and stuff, but there's also a lot of loyalty to it too.
Thank you so much again. Bottom line, sound advice, be a good person and manage yourself very well. Thank you so much, lovely ladies. Can you guys give me your social media where you want the viewers to follow you?
Okay. Well, basically, they can follow me on Instagram, Shonta, Shante, at 143. So it's always Shonta Love. And then on Facebook, it's Shonta J. So it's Shonta with a J and a number 1.
Cool. Give them your social media, Scarlett.
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ScarlettLashFans, or you can find me on Instagram, very simply, Scarlett Lash. You can also find me on my domain, which is www.scarlettlash.com. And it's a little bit under construction right now, but it'll be up and running. So you can find my prints and just other merchandises that I'm also selling there.
Cool. So we'll put all that information in the video.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And make sure you check out Mélange this weekend, Saturday, San Francisco, 7 p.m. at the Regency. We have all the information in the description below, and check us out on Hotspot. But thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.
Bye.